the frequency as our reality instead of just matter that we live in the materialistic world. Beautifully, Bhagavan gives the Shastra Pramana from the Sarvanyatma Agama, verse 15. For the power of Sarvanyatva, the Shastra Pramana are the eternal, unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures as Vedas and Agamas. This is from Sarvanyatma Agama, verse 15.
Verse 15. Bhagavan Paramashiva translates.
एवमेकात्मभावेन संस्थितस्य तु योगिनः सर्वज्ञत्वं प्रवर्तेत विकल्परहितस्य तु.
Bhagavan Paramashiva beautifully says, within such a yogi who established himself an absolute non-dual oneness with Lord Shiva and who keeps himself free from all sorts of differentiating notions, the exalted power of all-knowing Sarvagnya reality, living in a community, the Vata Varana, is more important. Simply we align to the higher consciousness. Bernard Shaw, Bhagavan says, was in a different place all his life and he moved into a different community. Just when people asked, why did you do that? All he said was, only if I move into a place where people live more than 100 years, I will be in a space of living healthy for 100 years. It is the Vata Varana which makes a big component in our consciousness, how we perceive the world, where we live, who we talk. Bhagavan beautifully says, who you crib matters a lot because you are taking the inputs from them. And when we only associate with the outer world, we are going into more delusion and more materialistic, not knowing how we are deluded even. But when we live in the higher consciousness space, we start understanding the higher reality. Bhagavan beautifully gives a reference of the Zen master who dresses up very nicely, all his coats and suits, and then he goes to sleep. When his disciple asks, why are you wearing all this to go to sleep when everybody retires to sleep? Beautifully he says that I don't know who I am when I wake up, because who is that which is me? Experiencing that oneness space, the ultimate space of oneness, if you understand how you exist as a frequency, as a spirit, as a consciousness, you will understand the higher existence, how you can manifest the greater reality. Just living as your body and materialistic world, we are only in the birth and death cycle of the mind. Again and again going through the birth and death of the mind, which is painful, which is horrible, which is root shock, which gives us all the traumas, and we have to wake up from that in a very miserable way. Instead, if we understand the higher consciousness is nothing but Paramashiva is real and Bhagavan himself waking us up into the reality and merging and surrendering to Bhagavan's lotus feet every moment, we start recognizing our higher self is Paramashiva and wake up to that reality. What you search, you get the feedback in cosmos. For that, you attract that. You gravitate into that. If you understand that you are not just the body, even that body, you don't use it fully. Bhagavan says how the sarira, how you exist in the deep sleep in a different sarira, and in the dream state in a different sarira. You don't know that you are sleeping. You are in the dream going out with all your friends and families. So you are in a different sarira. Same way in the deep sleep, there is no seen, seer, nothing exists, but you know it exists. You are in a different sarira, the karana sarira. And when you are leaving your body, again you take up the karana sarira and you go into the pitraloka and whatever needs to be happening there. If you understand, you don't have to carry the mind all through all this state and continuously get into the delusion again and again. We know we can drop it, which is not no use to anybody and not you. and is only your own cognition that you are that. Like a wave, Bhagavan gives an example. How the wave collects the shells, collects the crabs, collects the sand and things. It can live forever, happily ever after. But before it could build anything, it is taken away from the ocean. Same way, if we understand, we are not just the wave, we are not just the body, we are the consciousness, Paramashiva, who we are. If we merge into that space, we don't have to again and again have the insecurity, incompletion, anger. All that is not us. The shell or sand or crabs is not us. The wave itself is part of the ocean. And as long as it thinks it is part, it is always going to feel insecure. If you are the ocean, you become the oneness, the Paramashiva. You become subtler and subtler. You understand your quantum, how the whole universe is in a different frequency where you can manifest your reality, including your body, as you want, how you want, where you want, in the dimensions that you want. The possibility is just how it is happening even now. We have to recognize what we are doing right now in us. Even now, Bhagavan says, you are Paramashiva, you are consciousness, reflecting and manifesting. Only a screen is blinding you for not looking at who you are. When you remove the blinds, you will understand that you are Paramashiva, and that is the very existential reality. Why we came to planet Earth, why we took the human birth, why in 8 billion people we are initiated by Bhagavan himself, God himself who has come as Guru. And surrendering to him, we'll understand the higher reality. Your mind cannot grasp it. If it can grasp infinity, it should be greater than infinity. So dropping the mind and catching the infinity as the ultimate space, the quantum space, is all Bhagavan is giving us through the power manifestation. This simple exercise gives us the breakthrough that we are consciousness. We are not just the matter. The Apta Pramana, how Bhagavan has given us all the greatest theories and understanding to make us understand we are consciousness. The story of the Barbaric, he was one of the greatest warrior who did so much of penance and tapas, and he was born son of Gatotkacha and the Nagas, and his mother trained him and he did a penance and he got the boon of the bow and arrow, 3 arrows, very strange but very powerful. He can shoot the arrow and simply the arrow will go kill all the people in the enemy side and come back and stay with him. Such a powerful arrow and bow that nobody has known to attack it. So Krishna placed the Leela in Mahabharata that he asked him to test him to go and take all the leaves from the tree, hiding one leaf under his leg. And he thought, how will they know? And simply Barbaric came and said, I know that you have a leaf under your leg. Please remove your leg, otherwise your leg will be hurt. He says this to Krishna, Vishnu, and when Krishna moves, it takes off the leaves. And then Krishna sees he has a boon that he will support, that he gave a vow to his mother, he will support the weak side. But whichever side he supports, they will be the winner because it will go and kill everybody. So he kills Barbaric and Barbaric says, please let me watch the whole thing, Mahabharata war. And he sits as just how the drome is. His only head is on the mountain where he is placed. And he watches the whole Mahabharata and witness the whole thing, including the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita. He listens to the whole science, how we have the drome. It's still not understood how he's made. And they still, North India found his skull and they celebrate him as Durga Devi herself. The beautiful of these greater science, and whether we don't know whether he is human or he was the artificial intelligence, first artificial intelligence that happened on planet Earth. He had such beautiful powers to go beyond. Here Bhagavan explains about how we can go beyond our the child tantrum that we are constantly engaging all the differentiating notions that we have and how we can go beyond that in Atma Pramana to manifest the powers of Paramashiva.
The more conversation you have, more frustrated you will become. Because the tantrum throwing child is not debating with you, he is protesting against you. So the more you engage that child in dialogue, more you try to engage that part of you in conversation, the more you will become frustrated. More the tantrum throwing child will become empowered. If there is a light, in front of that light I am doing some shadow games. How they do the shadow games, moving their fingers through that, they create shadows, and that's through the shadows they tell stories, the shadow stories and shadow games. In this shadow game, one lion and one deer, both of them are fighting. The lion is attacking the deer. You feel so painful and compassionate, you just wanted to save that deer from the lion. What's the best way? Switch off the light. Don't try to strengthen the deer. Don't try to supply weapons to the deer. Don't give rifle to the deer. Don't attack the lion. All that will be stupid. You will be attacking your own hand, which is doing the shadow game. Just switch off the light. Then